Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. That is what we do. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the POMcast. I am your host, Stephen Willis. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a good show today. We have Darby McCranie coming up later on in the show to talk about interior defensive line recruiting. So if you want some nuts and you want some bolts, that's all there. The recruiting czar is in the house. Also tonight we're going to do like we did last night as well. The Chris Thrasher segment, it'll be on tomorrow's POMcast, but we'll stream just that little piece for those that want to watch as well. And basically, I'm having a lot of fun with graphics, and you can see the improvements of the show in the bottom left, the graphics in below that we're going for the show things, the scroll at the bottom of the screen. I mean, we're having a lot of fun here, and it's not really a way to subvert that fun. It's just a blast. But anyway, Darby McCranie coming on the show later on today. We're going to talk about the basketball game being rescheduled to Thursday at 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern on the SEC Network. It was at tomorrow at 8 on ESPNU. Now it's Thursday at 4 Central, 5 Eastern on the SEC Network. So you can tune in for that, and it's right there. And all in all, this is a huge gift from the Southeastern Conference. For a while, people need to get off the SEC is against us wagon, because this is a huge gift from the SEC. An opportunity at a Tier 1 victory at home with a chance to get off the bubble and safely into the tournament. That is in the offering come Tuesday. Now, whenever they met, this will be the second time they came to Oxford, and the first time was basically an abject disaster. You look at it, Trendon Watford was LSU's leading scorer with 21. Austin Crowley was ours with 10. Now, that's not a big deal, but when we get to Devontae Shuler, and I'm about to show that as well, it kind of paints a unique picture, and it shows. But Ole Miss was down at 18 or 20 at halftime. It was a pretty good start and attack dog moment. They just kind of jumped on us. Ole Miss won the second half, but by then it was it was kind of too far gone. But they did win the second half, so we take that as a positive. But they were down by 18 at the break. And a large reason for that was Devontae Shuler going 0 for 9 shooting, 0 for 6 from 3. His only points was a pair of free throws. Ended up with 2 points. That was a large reason for LSU playing the way they did and the way they jumped out on us. And if we can prevent that from happening again, and we have all the momentum and all the confidence in the world, LSU is definitely playing a different team now than they played on January 9th. There's no doubt about that. Rotations figured out. Style of play is figured out. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that is basically coming up because of all this confidence, and this is a different Ole Miss basketball team is what I'm saying. And we will see that come Thursday, I'm going to say evening, I mean, it's 5 o'clock here, 4 o'clock Eastern, Thursday afternoon, maybe. Either way, it's a little day basketball for the Ole Miss Rebels. So, with the travel and everything and them working and them absolutely trying to get this in, there's just more proof that this is an utter gift from the Southeastern Conference. And it should be interesting to see. Now, LSU comes into the game with their leading scorer being, let's see, it says C. Thomas. Cameron Thomas is their leading scorer. He's a freshman out of Chesapeake, Virginia. He's averaging 22.6 and 2.8 rebounding, 1.8 assists. But that's what we're looking at. The leaders for Ole Miss is Devontae Shuler. He's averaging close to 17 a game. A lot of that has come recently. He's gone over 15 points 9 out of the last 10 games. He's gone over 10 all of those games. So that's what we're looking at in those games and the ramifications for it. I mean, I do not want to put too much pressure on them, but this has turned into the game. Just period. This has turned into the game. Ole Miss wins. At that moment, they are in the tournament. They're going to jump up and net somewhere in the 40s. And at that point, they are in the tournament. Now, I enjoy like this bubble talk and everything, and Ole Miss controls its own destiny at the moment. Between this game and the Missouri game, has 2 out of the next 3 Tier 1 opportunities. Win both of those, I mean, you might be talking about an 8 or a 9 seed. But there is a chance to really roll. There's nobody on the schedule, including Thursday night, that Ole Miss cannot beat. I mean, sure, LSU is long, they're athletic. They play a style of basketball that's a little bit difficult for Ole Miss. They can affect Devontae Shuler because of their length. And it's kind of a similar situation that Alabama has. But what is happening now that did not happen January 9th is it's not just Devontae Shuler. Jarkel Joyner has woken up. Romello White, who ended up 4 points in that game. He didn't even have foul trouble. He just ended up with 4 points. So their mindset and how they play could affect the way this game plays out. Those 3. And then you add KJ, you add Matthew Morrell, Jarkel Joyner, or not Jarkel Joyner, I already said him. Austin Crowley is what I was going to say. But you had players like that, and you see that Ole Miss could be more difficult and more complicated to guard than they were January 9th. This is a different basketball team. Expect a different result. I'm not saying Ole Miss is going to win the game, but what I am saying is this is a completely different basketball team, and one game does not mean much about the other. So just remember that. There is no transitive property, even though these are 2 teams that have already played. But, yeah, there you go. But Ole Miss versus LSU Thursday afternoon. 4 Central, 5 Eastern on the SEC Network. You can tune in for that. Basketball team, whenever they're not shooting well, it's a tedious watch. But whenever they're playing well and making some shots and forcing defense to kind of respect areas, it's actually a pretty good team to watch. Ole Miss is currently in the net at 55 in between Stanford and Richmond. Between the Spiders and the Cardinal right there. Win over LSU, you're looking at the 40s. Win over LSU and Missouri, you're looking at the low 40s. And solidly in. But Ole Miss basketball on a path with the longest active winning streak in the Southeastern Conference at 4 games. On their way to what we hoped they would be when all these transfers and all this roster turnover happened, 7-8 months ago. So we are going to take a quick break. And, when we come back, Darby McCranie. So I hope you enjoy, but stick around.
Only 10% of us get enough daily exercise.
And that number is dropping.
Nearly 30% of us are overweight or obese. We spend 6 hours a day in front of a screen.
As a result, we now have a shorter life expectancy than our parents.
But give us the right start in sports, and we'll never stop.
Learn how at active4life.ca.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis from Positively Ole Miss. We're almost done with this break. We'll be back with good information quite soon.
The military has been in every generation of my family, and so has VA. It wasn't easy for my dad after Vietnam, but VA helped him and my mom get the home they'd always wanted. My grandpa's been coming to VA since World War II. They even helped him lay to rest one of his battle buddies from Normandy. And me, I followed in their footsteps and served with pride. And now that I'm out of the military, the GI Bill's helping me with school. Every generation of my family has served, and VA has served us all.
Right, welcome to a special edition of the POMcast. We're going to do Darby right now and put his information out, and then we're going to church it up for the POMcast tomorrow. So it's a little bit of an early treat, along with our recruiting czar, Darby McCranie. How you doing, Darby?
Man, I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me on.
No problem.
How you making out?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. What we're probably going to do is have Darby come on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Chris will get Wednesdays and Fridays. And Ryan might get eventually Mondays. So it's kind of a full slate of POMcast and all this kind of information that you need coming down the wire. Because we're going to start rolling very soon. And by April, whenever we're good and going, you'll be glad that you called us in the beginning and set up all the stream warnings and all that good stuff, because we're having a lot of fun here. Darby's going to come on. I think he wants to talk about defensive line today, and I'm really curious to see who the big targets are and what do you have?
Yeah, so actually I broke it down to interior D linemen because we're going to have such a different recruiting class this year than what we're used to. We're starting to get in on some really big-time guys. Like we had in the Hugh Freeze era when we were big name here, big name there. But I put a few together for you guys, and the number one guy that Ole Miss is after right now is Jaheim Oates from Columbia, Mississippi. That is their number one target for interior defensive line. A lot of people are going to say, well, what about Walter Nolan? But these guys have been in on Jaheim Oates for quite some time. He's got a teammate on our team in Kentrell Bullock, both from Columbia, Mississippi. Big-time guy, recruited by Derek Nix for quite some time. And most people are going to know him because he was offered in the 8th grade by Nick Saban. It was his first offer was Alabama, so he's that big scale of a guy. Nationally, top 100 recruit, number 2 recruit in the state of Mississippi, number 8 overall at his position nationally. He's 6'4", 345, and he's just absolutely incredible, man. He's the guy. He's our Taiwan Malone of the defensive line in this class, if you will.
Oh, so he's a true nose guard. Is there anything for the 3 techniques, the 300-pound-ish guys coming down the pipe?
Yeah, he's 345, 6'4", but he's incredible physical specimen. And then obviously you guys know a little bit about Walter Nolan. He's from Cordova, Tennessee, the number 2 recruit in the nation, regardless of position. Really incredible guy. We didn't make his top 10, but I'm not sold on that quite yet. I know we're real close with him, and Kevin Smith recruits him, so you can't ever count him out. I look forward when he narrows his list the next time. I look for us to go ahead and make that list. You got Aaron Bryant. So a lot of guys don't know too much about Aaron Bryant, but he's from South Haven. I know you guys know the Isaiah Brevard wide receiver that came from South Haven. So the story there was that as he's being recruited and they're watching Isaiah's tape, number 55 is showing up on the tape left and right, highlighting these tapes. So eventually they have to ask the question, who's number 55? And that's Aaron Bryant. He's kind of underrated right now. He doesn't have, I know it's early in the process, but he doesn't have a big ranking like the rest of these guys do, but I expect that to get better. He's got offers from Arkansas and Mississippi State and Memphis, so it continues to grow. But the feather in Ole Miss's cap there is his father went to Ole Miss. He didn't play there, but he went to Ole Miss, so that's a feather in the cap, and they really like this guy right now. Another name I was going to go throw out there is Xavion Harris. A lot of people know him as well. He's teammates with John Lewis, who signed with Mississippi State this year. Really big kid, 6'6", 308 pounds. Really good deal there that we're in on him. So another feather in the cap we have is John Lewis signed with Mississippi State, right? But Nigel Knott is from Germantown as well, okay? Nigel Knott just transferred from East Carolina to Ole Miss. So that's hopefully bringing us back to par when it comes to recruiting. And again, you got Derek Nix on that guy. He's an incredible recruiter. But yeah, he's 6'6", 308 pounds from Madison, Mississippi. Really incredible recruit there. And I'll keep going down my list. I got another one here. Actually, this is a 2-for-1. You think you'll like is Daniel and Jamari Lyons. They're brothers from Florida. Homestead, Florida, and Melbourne, Florida. They play at different high schools, but they're brothers. Pretty neat story. And let me give you their rankings here, Steve. You got Daniel Lyons, nationally ranked 249 in the country. His brother, Jamari Lyons, ranked 300 in the country, and this is regardless of position. Okay. So two really big-time studs there on the D-line. So these guys are weighing in at 270, 295 pounds. Both are 6'4", and Kevin Smith's recruiting both of those guys. And the word right now is there's no particular leader that they have. It's wide open. I know they like Miami. I know they like Florida, and they like Ole Miss. So there's a lot of chatter, and we're real warm with those guys. Like those guys a lot. I'll move on down the list with Curtis Neal from Cornelius, North Carolina. He's ranked number 12 in his state, North Carolina. He's nationally ranked 281, and for interior D lineman, he's ranked 25. So he's another big time recruit, recruited by everybody in the country, just like everybody I've listed here, other than Aaron Bryant. But Chris Partridge is his recruiter, and we've learned this year what that man's capable of. Mm-hmm. Big time guy, and Curtis Neal. You got Felix Hickson, which is Jackson, Georgia. He's the only other recruit we got on this list that's under the radar, like Aaron Bryant is. I expect him to have a really strong higher rank when it comes out. He just doesn't have a composite yet. ESPN is usually late to the party on ranking folks to get that composite rank. But Felix is recruited by Chris Partridge as well, 6'3", 285. Offers from pretty much everybody in the country, Georgia and everybody else. So we're in on another big time guy. And to round out my list, Steve, I got Sean Washington. He's from New Orleans, Louisiana. He's ranked number 13 in his state, 255 nationally, and 21 regardless of position, or at his position. I'm sorry. He's 6'3", 297 pounds, and he's being recruited by Coleman Hutzler, the new addition, our special teams coach from Texas. But the early indication right now is that LSU leads for him, but it's just another one to add to this list here that we're hot on, and that's 9 right there. And we're suspected to take 3 to 4 on interior defensive line this year. And if you get any 3 or 4 out of that list right there, that's a win for 2022.
All right. that's a nice look at the interior defensive line. Like I said, tomorrow, or if you're listening to the POMcast, we're going to church it up a little bit. But if you're just watching the stream right now, that gives you an idea of the direction that Ole Miss is going on this. Now, changing gears a little bit, Gus Malzahn to Florida. There's been a chatter of whatnot, almost rooting for Jeff Lebby to leave. What do you think of that hire? What do you think that means for Ole Miss?
Well, I'm kind of shocked, and so are a lot of Ole Miss fans. That whole university seemed to want Lebby, and understandably so. We learned that last year. He's just a great fit, great guy, really knows offense. Everybody loves him that's around him. So as an Ole Miss fan, it was one of those things like you really want to see him go and do good and be happy for him if he moves on. But selfishly, you want to keep him back in Oxford because he's just a wonderful fit and a great offensive mind. Now moving to Gus, I think that's a great hire for them. It's a splash hire for UCF. He can recruit. He's won national championships. I mean, he's just a great hire for UCF. So they get their guy. We keep our guy. We fend off Auburn this year, and UCF to go ahead and keep Lebby for one more year. Yeah, it's pretty neat having that, isn't it?
Yeah. He's a heck of a football coach and a heck of a football mind, and I'm glad to have him in Oxford for sure. Dylan Gabriel. This is a little bit of speculation, but no pro-style quarterback has worked out at under Gus Malzahn. He's the quarterback of Central Florida. Any finger in the air of what might happen?
No, I haven't got any leads there. I haven't dug around too much about it, quite honestly, but that's something interesting to keep an eye on, and I'll look into it for sure.
Okay. All right, Darby McCranie coming by the show. He'll be back on the POMcast on Thursday, and always good information from Darby McCranie. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. See you.
Right, welcome to a...
You want to answer that, don't you? I bet it's just killing you seeing the soft glow just inches away. Someone wants to tell you something or ask you something. Oh, come on, answer it already! Just so we're clear, that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner voice. Don't text and drive. A message from Florida's trusted choice independent insurance agents.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis. I just want you to stick around a little longer. We're going to get back to the podcast right after these messages.
Tonight, nearly 40,000 veterans across the country are homeless. These men and women have pledged to serve our nation, and now we must serve them. Landlords across the country have helped make significant progress in reducing veteran homelessness by making housing available, but there is more that we can do to bring our veterans home. Visit www.va.gov/homeless to see how you can get involved. And if you are a veteran and you are experiencing homelessness, please call 877-4AID-VET. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Thank you to Darby McCranie. That was a fantastic hit that he did yesterday. We'll look for more of the same of that in coming days and weeks. And, he is the recruiting czar. That's what we're going to call him. He is the recruiting czar. He knows basically all. I'm really impressed by his knowledge, and basically going to be leaning on him for a lot of recruiting information over the coming weeks and months as we get this thing going. Tonight, Chris Thrasher, Oxford correspondent, will be on the show. We're going to stream it. He has trouble with his internet connection, so if he drops out and things happen during the stream, that kind of just happens. So just be patient with that. But if you want an early sneak peek before tomorrow, because we'll clean it up and everything for the POMcast as well. So you can kind of see the direction. We made a large jump in week 3 of the POMcast of what we want to do. We're heavy graphic intensive. I mean, we are heavy into basically content where we want to have fun. If you're interested in doing something for the show, let me know. I will let you take ownership of it. I will put you on the air. I will give you a platform. And I will not interfere. I mean, this isn't my show. Like we hit Darby hitting. You can ask Darby. I did not interfere in that in the slightest. And whenever he brought that out to us, I heard it for the first time just like you did. But it's about, having fun and taking ownership of a segment of the fanhood that you want to see elevated. You want to see get a platform. Eventually, we are going to do really uniforms. We really had a POMcast the other day where we talked about the powder blue and navy combination that I am really intrigued about. I want to see white pants with the red and navy blue stripe. Like there was a high school that has that with basically our uniforms with the powders. I think that would look really good. This stuff I want to see moving forward. And I want to give a platform for people that, have little things that they want to see, that they want to elevate. And that's what this show is all about. We're going to cover Ole Miss sports, the rescheduled LSU game. You can see what we're doing with basketball right now. It's only going to improve over football. We're going to have virtual watch parties. We're in the process of acquiring, 4 or 5 or 6 people to do it. We're going to have guests from time to time in there, and we're going to start reaching out this summer to former coaches at Ole Miss and former players to see if they want to take part, because it's about having fun, and it's about the opinions that matter, and theirs are the opinions that matter. It's not some random writer at the Clarion Ledger, not really say anything about the Clarion Ledger, but it's about opinions that matter. If you're not going to report, if you're not going to be a sports reporter, that's where the impartialness stops. After that, I don't care about your opinion about anything. If you're going to stop being a reporter, impartiality is not necessary. It's not needed. It's not required, because you're just trying to state your opinion just like everybody else. And, why don't we get Steve Robertson in to cover Ole Miss if that's the case? If you're going to play the opinion game, expect to be treated like the opinion game. If you're going to be an actual reporter, which Nick Suss at the Clarion Ledger, he's actually, attempting to do, that impartiality actually means something. You can see the difference. There's a difference between reporting and opining. It's like the difference between an article and a column. If your opinion, you think it matters, it doesn't. If you're outside, because we need to look inward and take care of ourselves as Ole Miss fans. We need to build it up the way we think we need to build it up instead of listening to the opinions of outsiders. My opinion right there, but it's an avenue that we really need to look into, because copycatting other schools has worked so well for 40 years. So, I think I'm going to give you a minute or two back. Thank you, of course, for joining us. Thank you for Darby McCranie. Tonight, Chris Thrasher. Got to set that up. I don't know exactly what time, but it'll probably be around the same time as last night. POMcast, of course, will be tomorrow at 11. And, everything's going to evolve over the next couple of months. Remember, it's going to be a little rough. It's going to be expected because we're doing small things, and eventually the small things make a large jump. So if you see something that's a little bit different, that's why. So thank you for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow, 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central for the POMcast. And howdy toddy.